Day 60, everybody. Thursday, 16th of July, 2020. Just to let you know the COVID thing that's going on. Us oldies, Us Centres got released last Saturday, so I'm getting about a bit these days. And I'm apologising, I told you a lie yesterday. I can't leave James alone. Got to come back and do James again a bit more. Because Peter, James and John, the three favourite disciples of Jesus, were James was killed by right early on by Herod, and then Peter and John were taken captive probably about 3 years or so into the early church. After Pentecost, I'm guessing 3-4 years, only quite a short time. John was put in prison someplace, and Jesus and Peter was put to death. And at that point, then James has been around in that period, but and alongside Peter, but then he comes into prominence. So James comes into prominence, and so from then on, he's referred to as it's like James and the elders, or James and the apostles. And the question would be, and it's recognised very clearly that James is Jesus' younger brother. That's in Galatians, very clearly stated there. And the question is, why? Why is James preferred over the apostles? The other 9 apostles, why was he preferred over them? And as I puzzled over that question, another question we're asking, and the answer came back, because he knew Jesus better than anybody else on the planet. He was Jesus' little brother. They played together. They'd grown up together. He had seen Jesus every day of his life. He got out of bed and Jesus was there. He went to bed and Jesus was there. He just knew Jesus. And it's not possible that they didn't have conversations about theology, and so on, what's going on. But so that Jesus knew, James had the heart of Jesus, and he had that heart to minister to the church for the next 25, 30 years or whatever it was. So he was, and significantly, I think, Paul never has to write a letter to the church at Jerusalem. And Paul comes to Jerusalem to say, the Gentiles. James is able to say, but the Jews. There are, after they'd all been dispersed from Jerusalem, James remains there. And then some years later, when Paul comes, James is able to say, well, there are many thousands of Jews here, And that's one of the difficulties of even to this day in my mind. How do you marry a traditional Jew with a new born again kind of believer? You want them, So how does that work? How does the law of Moses still resonate with the life of grace? That would be a question that would need to be answered still today if you were to bring the Jews for Jesus into a normal Gentile church. But that's that's how it was. And that he was very prominent is indicated in I think it's chapter 15 where Paul comes with a question: how are we going to get these two? Are the Gentiles got to believe in Moses and everything like that? And as Paul comes with that question, the assembly of elders and apostles are gathered together, and James takes the chair. It's James that takes the chair for that meeting, and they have the conversation with one another. And then at the end of that conversation, it's James that brings the conclusion of the matter. He brings the decision that should be taken by Paul back to the Gentiles, and that decision is accepted. And it is very much it's like don't be immoral, and don't eat meat that's been sacrificed to animals or foreign gods that's got blood in it. Something like it's as easy as that. And then all the rest of it is by faith in Jesus in our hearts. What is Jesus saying to me today? Just read the scriptures that the ladies have put on or a WhatsApp, church WhatsApp this morning, and they're beautiful. You know, so that these, you know, these just from their hearts and just into our hearts. That's where these things are. And what you find when James writes his letter, Paul's letter is all is theology, and then a bit of practical stuff. James is all practical. He starts off with recognizing that his brother is the Lord Jesus Christ, Christ the Messiah, you know, so the anointed one of God, this special person, you know. And then after that, it's just practical stuff, so that the thing that hits you right in the face, right from the beginning, or very early on, is this pure religion. What do you think he says pure religion is? What is pure religion? Shall I leave it? No, I'll tell you. Pure religion is to look after widows and orphans. Pure religion is to look after widows and orphans, to care for the poor. You know, to care. That was in our readings this morning. And then alongside that, he talks about not having favourites. Don't let the rich person, you know, rule over the poor person just because he got some money. You know, we're all equal. You know, we're all equal in God's eyes. If one's got two coats and another has none, let the one who's got, you know, share that. And then the biggie is be careful with your speech. Because if you can control your tongue, well, you're a great person. You know, so let your words be few. Okay, and let them come with as much wisdom as you've got. And be ready to apologise when you open your mouth and put your foot in it. That's me, isn't it? Okay, but theology. Romans chapter 13 is the big chapter on how to stay united, not being judgmental. Don't be judgmental, you know. Be kind to one another, you know. So unity is maintained by not judging one another, okay? Because you don't own me, God owns me. You know, I don't own you, God owns you. So I must let you have him as your Lord, not try to be your Lord myself. Okay, I'm going to do something on David tomorrow. Okay, so, but it's still got a hint of church in it, I'm sorry. Okay, have a lovely day. It's going to be a good day today. It's going to be a good today. Today is the 16th of July. It should be a good day today. Amen. God bless. Bye-bye.